That's your fucking boat? You're rolling?
Yeah, I'm rolling on the river. My dad seen them in concert. He said it was not them. He's seen Tina Turner in concert. He said it was the best concert he ever went to.
Oh, really?
And he said when she sang that song, it was like a slow build up. She was like,
God.
"Working hard in the city." Like he said, it was a nice build up. It was one of the best concerts I ever went to.
You know that Corn came yesterday? Do you like Corn?
Welcome back to another October-themed Halloween special episode of A Tad Bit Older. My name is Pearl.
And I'm Juliet.
And we hope you guys are enjoying October so far. We had like a nice week. We went to a fun event hosted by one of my favorite mediums, Nicole the Medium. Shout out to Nicole the Medium. And she was hosting with her partner, her business partner.
Business partner.
What's it called?
Oh, I don't know. I just met them.
Oh my goodness.
That's my first
Something
day.
Collective Creativeness. Oh my God, we totally bought a shirt. Anywho, Mateo will look it up. Matt, William, producer, engineer. Anywho, so we went to her event and it was about making your own oracle cards.
Yep.
So she has her own oracle deck that she created with her partner. And so it was supposed to just be a night of like, it was a new moon, which I didn't know. Did you know that?
It was a new moon. I thought the new moon was yesterday, actually. So it must have been like the verge of a new moon, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so because it was a new moon, that whole idea was to put some intentions out and then kind of like just new beginnings. And so it was really cool because they were also doing free readings.
Yeah,
so she had two of her like interns there who are also mediums like her, and they were doing complimentary readings. So all three of us got a reading.
Know, that was pretty cool.
From two different people. And then the other thing we did that was pretty cool was we all took turns choosing from a bowl like a phrase, and she kind of said like whatever phrase you pull out, that's what you're meant to hear. And it was so spot on for us. Share like what word you pulled, and then if you want to about like your reading that you had.
I'm trying to remember what I got. What did I get?
Not to worry.
Yeah, it said I let go of worry. I believe so, something like that. Which it does resonate with me because I always say that. Like sometimes I get in that like bubble of like I'm just like not paranoid but super worried about stuff.
Yeah.
So that for sure resonated with me. I'm always like go with the flow.
It was so perfect.
And yours was super.
Mine was let it be, let it rest.
Oh,
which
yeah, let it be,
I
let
totally
it rest.
resonate with because there's just so much things that I hold on to, number one.
Yeah.
And then obviously we always talk about how I'm always on the go.
And we literally just talked, I don't know if you guys remember, we literally just talked about this like probably like two of our podcasts before. I was telling her how I was like, dang, she does so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, when does she ever rest?
Yeah.
So it's so funny that you pulled that card.
Yeah. And I was like so worried because right when they called us up to start pulling like the phrases, I got called out for my reading and I almost wanted to be like, well, wait, and then I was like, no, the phrase what I need to hear is going to be waiting for me. And there was two left when I went back up there and that's the one I pulled. And I just laughed because I'm like, that is so true.
Oh my God. That's right. Because you didn't pull one.
Yeah.
Yet.
No, I was like back. Literally the last person to pull mine.
That's so true. I forgot about that.
And then then I went outside and I had my reading and the card she pulled was rushed, execute.
Oh my God, she did.
Oh my God. And then what was the other one? The other one was remove conditions and restrictions. And it totally resonated with me. And just the thing she said was so like spot on and true.
Yeah. Because you're always like... I don't remember my cards, and I think she pulled from my deck. I don't think she did a tarot cards. I think mine's were, what were they? No, she didn't do an oracle deck. I think she did a tarot cards on mine, because mine's look a little different. There's like spades and like rings. So I don't know if you guys know the decks, but they look very different. Like from an oracle card to like tarot cards, they're like different meanings. So I think mine's was tarot. And mine's, I don't remember exactly what they pulled, but abundance was in it.
Love it.
And I've been pulling abundance for probably, so before this reading, I had 2 readings before, or 3, and all of my pulls were abundance, and for some reason, I always get 3 golden coins, which is so crazy. And I kid you not, I've been pulling the same 3 coins, the 3 golden coins, and it's always abundance.
What does the 3 golden coins mean?
So
like,
it just
what's the
depends,
significance of it?
It depends on what deck you get and what the meaning, because every deck is very different. And then it gives you the description of them, because they don't all mean the same thing.
Oh.
But mine's meant like either there's like money coming in, or there's like a new beginning of something big.
Love it.
Which is about to start.
Love it.
Which I love it. Which I'm like,
you can feel it coming.
I do. I actually do feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for that moment.
It's gonna happen. Do we have the name?
I texted to you. That was our first outing as a podcast crew.
Oh my gosh, it was.
Okay, so
Low key.
Nicole the Medium has Comparison Killed the Creative. It's a really good organization. Her and her partner aim to help creatives and create a mental health space for them. So really, really cool project. So check them out. Comparison Killed the Creative. Matt went with us, like he said.
My God,
all 3 of us went. It was a nice podcast team building night.
It was.
Yeah. It was.
What was your experience like?
It was good. I liked it. I got a little emotional because mine was spot on.
Yeah, your reading was spot on.
And then I try to be like, it was kind of broad. It was kind of
you were in denial,
kind of, but there's no way of denying it. Was like right on. So there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, but he was kind of like.
But Nicole, I will say, she's very approachable. I didn't think she'd be like. I don't know why. I just walked up to her and talked to her, and she's very approachable.
Oh yeah, I've never met her before either. So I've heard of her. I think like through social media, but I've never like spoke to her. But yeah, she was really nice. And
good vibes.
Very good vibes. And then I like what their whole like
mission is. Yeah.
I love that.
So I've had a reading with Nicole the Medium before. I've had a 1-hour reading with her, and oh my goodness, I cried, I laughed. Like, she was super spot on. Like, she knew about my daughter, she knew about your music part, she knew about my dad.
That's interesting.
Yeah, she knew,
because she was like, he's so far from it.
Oh yeah, about you.
Yeah. And you were like, I don't know why she brought you up.
Yeah, she randomly, like, not randomly, but
she?
yeah, she brought up.
She mentioned what I'm going through right now. She had kind of talked about that.
She was like, he's supposed to be working in like audio, music, creativeness. She's like, but he's not putting effort into it. She's like, if he works at it every day, that is what he's supposed to be doing. He will, will come to light for him.
The abundance will be there for him.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
So it was, but it's funny. I was telling you at the end of the event, like, I've had a reading with her. I've taken a class with her, and I've, follow her on social media. But I was saying, like, you feel like you know people when you follow them on social media. Like, I was like, hi, hey. And she's like, hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Like, but you're like,
like,
I feel like you're my best friend.
I'm like, I'm Pearl's husband. She's like, who's Pearl?
Yeah. I know. When I went to, I was like, hi, Pearl brought me. She's like, oh.
Because she's done a reading on my dad.
Yeah.
She's texted me. But, and then the other thing was, like, because she said those things about Matt, I wanted to, like, tell her, like, hey, everything you said, because she does love to hear that, like, that the things she said did come to light. But the other 2 mediums there, the other one was her name is Karen, but on Instagram she is Get Figgy with It, but her name is Karen Fabiola, and the other one was Melissa.
Oh my gosh, she was super sweet. Her her name is on there, and I think on their social media.
Yeah, it was Melissa. I thought I had it here, and I'm sorry I lost it.
I think it's called Melly something. I remember I looked her up.
I know. I thought I sent it to somebody, but if you want to find both of them, all 3 of them, go to Comparison Killed the Creative. You'll find Get Figgy with It, Melissa, and Nicole the Medium. Put it in the bio. Yeah, we'll link them. But it was a really cool experience. We all 3 made our own oracle cards.
And I was trying to make a whole deck. And I thought it was just one.
Yeah.
Because I cut a whole bunch of paper.
You
And
did.
you guys were like, it's just one.
Yeah, you're like, I
was
thought we were making a whole deck. I'm
I
like,
thought we were
dang,
making
you
a
know how
whole
long
deck.
this would
When,
take?
when she told me, she's like, I'm gonna make multiples. I was like,
I did.
go, girl. You go.
It
I
was
was like, dang, I didn't know we were making just one. And then it took forever to just make one. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I get it.
It was hard for me because I'm not like naturally like an artist or creative person. I'm more like clean, like organized, you know. I can't just sit there and draw freehand like Matt did.
Oh my God,
everyone
he
was
did.
pretty impressed with his, like they kept passing by and like, oh, I really like this. But I had like a stencil and I was like trying to be all super organized with mine.
I think a lot of people, a lot of feminine energy in there.
Oh yeah,
It
you
was
were the
great.
only guy there.
Yeah. But I was comfortable. I mean,
Good.
I'm usually around a lot of women, but everybody kind of had your guys' vibe.
Yeah.
And mine was like, blah, and then it looked,
No, there was a couple other artists in there too.
Yeah,
there was
was.
some
Someone
that are
even
very
got creative and like
Oh, they
made
got
theirs
super
into a
creative.
circle. Like they cut. I was like,
That's actually
Yeah,
kind of lit.
you can
Like
tell.
a circle
Yeah.
card.
right.
What are they called?
Oracle
The
cards?
Oracle
The tarot
That's kinda-
cards.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can just have like,
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot actually.
It was
Yeah.
a really good event. I know they're going to host another one in the spring, and so we made it a goal. Well, Juliet mentioned like we
I know
should do something every
like that
month,
every month.
like support other groups and
Yeah.
like just get
Like
together and do
attend.
something.
I mean, even if it's a local coffee shop, like that's
Yeah.
so cool to do stuff
Oh my
like
gosh,
that.
we
Yeah.
love. I don't drink coffee, but I love coffee shops.
Like the way
Oh
it
my God,
smells.
me too.
Yeah, I love the way coffee smells. When I pull up to
my
Starbucks
God,
and that
me
window
too.
opens, I'm like, oh,
my
I know why
God.
people love coffee because it just smells
I
so good.
I love the smell
Smells
of
like
it
the
too.
morning.
It feels
Yeah.
like a warm hug.
It
I'm
does.
just like,
No, sometimes I just want something warm to drink in the morning, and I don't drink coffee, so I'll get like a hot. What I drink is chai teas. Like
Yeah.
that's my thing,
yeah.
or just like hot water with lemon. But I get why people like coffee because it just smells
It
delicious.
does smell. It smells so soothing too.
It does. Like
And I think it's the whole ritual too of just
true.
having a coffee in the morning. It's just
Yeah.
like a whole.
It's a whole thing.
Oh yeah,
A
it is.
whole routine. I wish I was in that club because it looks kind of fun. But I'm glad I'm not. Like I don't need coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need.
No,
like,
I think
Yeah.
I need coffee, but if I drink it, then I just go a little crazy.
You feel like you're gonna die.
Yeah, no.
even if I drink my
just-
chai tea too
I'll
quick.
just, me too.
I'm like
Sometimes
it was too good. It hit too hard.
We'll drink matcha.
Yeah.
And then we're like, is your heart beating fast? Yeah, very
true.
fast. We're like, okay, let's down water now.
Well, I'll tell Julia, I'm like, damn, that matcha was so good, but I drank it too fast.
I'm like, oh,
no, I'm getting heart palpitations.
that is too much. That was too much for me.
Your husband had such a funny insight this week. He's like, you and Juliet just get along because you guys trauma bond together
Yeah,
over her.
he did say
anxiety.
that. He's like, you know what? He's like, I see why you guys get along. You guys have like trauma bond. I'm like,
What's our trauma? We're both
he's like,
hypochondriacs.
your health.
We're on the same page as far as our anxieties go.
Oh my God. That's
But it was
funny.
a fun week getting kicked off into October, our favorite time of the year.
Oh my God.
It was
yes.
so fun releasing last week's episode. We talked so much about like all of our favorite scary movies.
Did you watch any?
No. We didn't
You know
watch
what
it.
the
Oh my
fuck?
God, no.
And you know what's funny?
No
is
movie?
when
No,
That we
I
talked
watched.
about?
I watched scary. I watched kid movies this week. Like,
Oh,
like
okay.
we watched Frank and Weenie today, which is like a freaking Tim Burton. Have you seen
Yeah.
Frank and Weenie?
Yeah, we watched.
Why?
Frankie.
Yeah.
We watched.
He's
Weenie-
creep factor.
Weenie.
Like, he's
Why? I
creepy.
told my
Yeah.
daughter, why am I watching this?
Yeah.
This is a dog. Like,
And they bring him back to
yeah,
life.
he gets
and
run
then he
over.
dies
It's
again.
so tragic.
Yeah.
I was like, no. And then the day before, we watched Corpse Bride, which is also freaky.
Tim
How he
Burton.
gets like it's another. I think my daughter, or I know my daughter loves Tim Burton movies.
Oh my God, so does my daughter. But he has a twist to them. That's why
Yeah.
they're so dark and like. I love like how creative he is.
Yeah, no,
freaking
I
love
like-
It's
Tim
definitely
Burton.
a vibe, yeah.
It just
Oh my God,
it just
so
gave-
different.
I was gonna say on the last episode, sometimes you get so excited, you just say stuff because I said a lot of wrong.
a lot of wrong information. Do you want to correct anything?
No, let it fly. You know what I mean?
I
What-
probably said a lot of wrong.
What
stuff
I
too.
did notice was after we talked about it, then I just so happened to be looking at scary movies because I did want to watch one this week. Like I
I
wanted to
sent
sit
one
down,
to you guys.
and we forgot so many like
no.
Poltergeist.
What that's kind of what
Oh
I.
my God, we did.
Well, that's what kind of what I meant. Like
Yeah.
you kind of get into
Yeah,
the the
but
throat,
there's
and then there's so much
yeah,
more.
like I
There
was
is so
thinking
much
about
more.
Poltergeist this week, and I
That
saw
one's
like
good.
that one pop
Yeah.
up. That's a good classic.
Your sister's
A
named
classic.
after
My dad
Poltergeist.
even named my sister Carol
No.
Ann after the movie
Oh my
Poltergeist.
God.
And then Hellraiser. Remember that
Oh
movie?
my god! Yeah, that's pretty good.
I didn't
But you know
really-
what's a classic? It's actually the original It, and we didn't even bring
Oh,
old school It, like where it
Yeah,
came from.
I don't like that.
Oh my god, that
No.
one's
That's
pretty
creepy.
good.
Yeah, but I saw Poltergeist and I was like, that's a good one because there's many to Poltergeist. Like, I have obviously the original, but then part 2, right? When she goes and lives with like her rich like family members or something in that high-rise apartment or condo. That one's pretty good. And he's
Yeah.
like in the reflection of the mirrors.
I haven't seen. I don't think
Yeah.
I
Check
don't
that one
remember
out.
That one.
No,
don't
no. Why are
remember
you
that
saying
one.
no? Because you've never seen it or because like, no, it's too scary?
I've never seen it, and I don't want to. I'm good. I'm like,
So, you know how we said we're going to record ourselves rewatching
That's what I
Nightmare on Elm
said.
Street.
You didn't even watch
So,
it.
when we were watching after he edited the podcast and I was rewatching it with
I
him,
know you told me.
I couldn't even watch the clips
clips,
that he
yeah.
put on.
Yeah.
Legit. I was like, no, no. It's still scary. I cannot.
you know what though? Like,
No.
if you watch Freddy, the actor, he's really throwing people like they were so aggressive on
Yeah.
back in the day. I don't know. I just felt like it was like, whoa, this is pretty wild for back in the day, the 80s. What the hell?
Dang,
You sound like
probably.
Marley, our little one today. She was like, that movie's like way back in the days. It's like from 1988. It's from back in the days. And I was like,
No.
I was born in 1984. She goes, oh. But like 88 sounds so
Zelda says
harder.
it's old fashioned. She's like, it's so old fashioned. I was like, dang, that sounds like black and white.
Oh, it's so messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of was like looking through and I was like, gosh, there's so much movies that we didn't even touch on. So
But how could you? It's so much.
Oh my god,
so
there is
many.
so many.
So many genres, so many different
Yeah.
styles of. There's
many.
the Freddy Krueger. There's a whole Wes Craven's, one. There's
Yeah.
all those
There
Michaels.
is, like,
Remember, I
all
sent you
the-
guys the
yeah.
Michael Myers.
Oh, yeah,
And
the
I
How it has
watched-
all these
It's
timelines.
funny because I actually watched it.
Like,
Remember?
that's
I was like, I stayed up.
crazy.
I was watching. I watched. He sent that thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh my god! I literally was just watching Halloween.
I did watch Halloween today because it was on midday when I got home from like
Yeah.
running
And
errands.
you're like, I could do this.
I did it during the day.
Did you finish it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
which one did you watch?
We watched number 1 with the original number 1.
Oh, the original number
And
one.
it came on like it came on back to back. So we started watching it,
Uh-huh.
and then the kids put on a movie, and then we came back to it. And it was like we were just picking up where I left off. So I still found it pretty scary, but I thought it was funny. Like
Oh, did you?
all the sex scenes that are in it, like the 3
Oh my god!
teenagers.
I told you the old.
And I was just like, oh my god, it was funny. And then we were like commenting on how they dress. That's the movie we were watching, and Marley, my oldest, was like, why are they dressed like that? Like, and my little one who's 6 was like, that's when she was like, because this is back in the day. This is like way back in the day, like in the 80s. And I'm like, actually, it's from the 70s, right? That movie was filmed in the 70s, Halloween one.
I don't remember when it was
that long
filmed.
ago?
I mean, just the way they were dressed, it looked like it. Check it out and fact check me.
Maybe their hairs. You can tell by their hair.
So I thought about this and I'm like, we talked about movies we should rewatch, but we should all watch a movie we haven't seen. Like, have you guys seen Rob Zombie's scary movies?
Oh my god! Yeah, I
You've
watched
seen-
all
you've
of
seen
them.
all of them.
Okay. So
Literally
like, we
I think I've
should,
only
all of them.
seen one.
but we should pick a movie we all haven't seen and then like report back and see what like we thought
Okay.
about it, because rewatching your old movies, it's just a different feel. You know what I mean?
It
is.
Like, it's nostalgic
Yeah.
and you get to think about
It
it, but
is.
it's just a different.
Yeah.
It is.
But so this week's topic is paranormal activity. I believe in that kind of stuff. I believe in like, what
Yeah,
do we
so do
call
I.
it? Like energy. People say ghosts, people say spirits. I believe it's just energy that's kind of lurking around left behind. And I've had plenty of like little stories.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I have a lot of stories actually.
Like instances where
Sound crazy, but yeah, I have.
So I looked up the psychology of paranormal beliefs, and it's complex and involves many factors, including someone's personality, their life experiences, and cognitive abilities. So it says people who score high on openness to experience extroversion, or sensation seeking are more likely to believe in paranormal. People who are intolerant of ambiguity may also be more likely to believe in the paranormal. And then people with childhood trauma can make them more likely to believe in paranormal activity.
Where are you getting these facts from?
Google, AI. There's a bunch of links. Cognitive abilities. People with poor reality testing or the ability to distinguish reality from fantasy may be more likely to believe in the paranormal. And women and younger people are more likely to believe in the paranormal. But these effects are debated. And you said before, like, kids' veil is a little bit thinner, so they're more susceptible to, I guess, the paranormal activity. Did you have something to say?
Oh, no, I was going to say, 1978 was the first Halloween.
Yeah, okay, so it's pretty close, too.
Because I think Jamie Lee Curtis in that, she's really young, actually.
She is super young.
How old is Jamie Lee Curtis now? How old was she in that movie? And then how old is she now?
I do want to know.
Come back to us with that.
I do want to know that.
So, like, I think the smallest, like, paranormal activity I've had is, like, after my dogs passed away, I still feel like I can, like, hear them or see them, like, running down the hall. Like, you know, that little in the corner of your eye, like, I think I just saw something, you know, or I think I just heard something. Or, like, we've been downstairs and have heard, like someone walking upstairs and no one will be upstairs. Yeah. But in this house, our house is a brand new house, new build. No one's ever lived in it. But when I hear those things, I don't think like...
Did they pass here?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how old do you think she is right now?
Right now, I think she's 68.
You, Juliet?
I think she's probably 63 or 65.
Boom. 65.
65.
You got it. And she was 19 when she shot that movie.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
She does look really like a baby there.
Yeah, she was young.
She is very young. She's 65. So that was mean of me to say 68 because she does look amazing.
But she's been around for a while. I mean,
yeah, good for her. How many Halloween movies are there?
Oh my God, how many is there?
There's a bunch, but her movies, when you go to her like IMDb or whatever it's called, her little bio, the first 3 are Halloween. I mean,
those are her first movies ever?
No, but I'm just saying, like, like when these are probably the most recent, most searched,
famous or searched.
So it's Halloween, Freaky Friday, and True Lies. Like those are her.
Oh my God, I True Lies. Freaky Friday.
Yeah, she's funny in True Lies.
But she gets topless in Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
Really?
Does she? I thought she got a little showing in one of the Halloween ones.
I mean,
I think she was like undressing herself. I can't remember. Yeah. And then she showed her booty too. I'm just kidding. I don't know if she did. But
so back to our paranormal stories. Do you have one you want to share?
I actually too. I had like a vision of my dog, and I think that I saw him. Yeah. Outside of my house after he had passed, because it's funny because I have always felt very guilty of the way that he passed. Because I feel like I wasn't there to like help him. And I never forgave myself. So I kind of like gave myself like trauma from it. So I would cry a lot all the time. And I remember every single time, like, I would meditate or whatever at nighttime, I would always, like, say, like, do you forgive me? I'm so sorry, like, blah, blah, blah. And then one day, I was in the kitchen, lights off, everybody was asleep, and my back door it's like a old school door where it has, like, windows, so you can see the outside. So it's not, like, it just has, like...
Solid door, it has a window.
It has, like, little... cutout windows. So we have those twinkle lights. Yes. And they had just went out because we have like a timer on them.
Yeah, they had just shut
So it got pitch black. But there's like a light that hits from my neighbors that kind of like hits my yard a little bit. So I happened to just like turn around and I saw like a white little like just like a white little like body like by the floor, and it looked like it was just sitting. Oh my gosh. I like looked back and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, did I just see him? And then I was like, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe it's just so dark. But I was like, but it's so dark. How would I see just a little white thing? And he was like white, obviously. And then I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, did I see him? Maybe I'm freaking crazy. So I went around my living room and I came back around this way because I was like, let me see if I see. Maybe it was just me, like my side profile, like
playing
seeing,
tricks
like,
on you.
Yeah. Did it again. Nothing. Then that night I went to sleep. I was thinking about him. And then I had a dream about him. And I was like, oh my God, I think it was him. And I kid you not, then the following day, I saw a car. And then it had a picture. I even took a video of it. It was a Jeep. And on the tire, it had like one of those cover up. And it was a Frenchie. And it was a white Frenchie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, it was him.
He's all, hi.
Hi, I forgive you. I love you.
I was like, oh my God. So, but I do feel like I did see him.
One of the classes that I took with Nicole the Medium was about like connecting with your loved ones, like on the other side who have passed. And one of the things she said to me that stood out was, because I asked her, like, if you are having, like, if you are fighting with someone before they pass, or you're having some type of conflict with them, do they carry that over into the afterlife? And she said no. She's like, people forgive you, you know, they don't like carry that, you know, trauma or things over to their side.
Right.
And it you know, it would be smart to think that, like, you know, there's no grudge being held. So don't feel like your doggy went to the other side and is like mad or blaming you.
I know.
It wasn't your fault.
I know.
It just happens. But yeah, I know that's kind of nice too, because we're looking for confirmation. And that's one of the things I learned too in a class that I took with her, was that our loved ones, if we pay attention, she said, and we don't put too much thought into it, they are giving us subtle signs. It's when you're like looking for it. And then one of the things she said is like, yes, they show you a sign, like the Frenchie dog, and the more you try to hold on to it and like overthink it, it disappears that quickly. So you almost just got to be like, oh, thank you, and then there it goes,
and then let it go.
Yeah, because I know, like, I feel like my loved ones show me they're with me when I see like butterflies. And she said you'll see it in like things like birds, hummingbirds, butterflies. Like that's the way that our loved ones show up to us. So when I see like a hummingbird. Like one time I was struggling so hard walking up a mountain, like when I used to go hiking, and I was just like,
tell me about this one.
Oh my God. Like I was like talking to my loved ones, like, please just help me get up here. And I got to the top and I like put my head down, and right like where I put my head down, like on the fence, and I was just like trying to catch my breath. And when I looked like through the fence, there was like 3 little hummingbirds just like and I was just like, so oh, I was like, thank you. Like, and I just do, you know, that's what I do. I'm just like, thank you, babies, for being here. Like, thank you for being with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting. Like, if you're just looking for it, you know, just, and it can be just as simple as that.
Well,
just
usually
like a picture.
animals are spirit guides.
Yes.
So that's why they come around, like, and everything around you actually is a message. But sometimes we're just too dumb to see it.
Yeah.
Or we're just too involved in like our daily life that we just miss on little things like that. But usually animals are trying to connect with you somehow.
I don't like parking far, especially in the Arizona heat. And so every time I get like a front row parking spot, I'm like, look at our angels were looking out for us. They gave me a front row parking. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. But yeah, that's nice. When my grandma passed away, I missed her so much, and I would dream of her like regularly. And every time I dreamt of her, she was always with her sister who passed away, just like having a good time, living it up. But every time I would see her in my dream, I would just start like bawling, crying, like hysterical. Like I just could not contain myself, so much so that I would wake up and still be under so much stress from that. Like my chest would hurt and I couldn't breathe. I'd have so much anxiety and I just couldn't take it anymore. Even in my last dream I had of her.
If this was in your dream.
Yeah.
You were feeling this way.
I was
in your dream.
Yeah.
And
then when I woke up, I was still feeling the physical effects of it. Like, you know, like how you feel when you just like have that hard cry, your chest is tight, like, and I would wake up in anxiety, like panic, like shaking from how distraught I was in my dream. And even in my last dream that I had of her, I'm like bawling, crying, and she's like, what? Oh my God. Like she was even like, oh my God, like stop crying. I'm okay. Like I'm here. I'm okay. Like she was like, what are you doing? Why are you so upset?
She had a break character. She's like, hello.
She's like, hello. What are you doing?
Yeah, she
I'm
was
gonna
like,
stop coming.
she was like, look at me being an angel. And then she was like, what now? Why are you crying?
She's doing beautiful stuff and you're just crying. She's all playing a harp.
She's like, fucking stop. I came to visit you because you miss me and you don't even know how to act. Like,
This how you act? Okay.
like, and her sister was there and she was even like,
God, she ain't ready.
bitch, like, what? Yeah. So I like had to pray to her the next day and I was like, look, Grandma, I didn't pray to her, but I prayed and I was like, Grandma, I love you.
Yes.
And I'm okay.
Yeah.
Do not come visit me
stop
anymore.
pulling up.
Yeah, I'm good.
No more pop-ups.
Yeah,
No
like
more pop-ups.
I am so good, Grandma. Do not come visit me anymore.
Don't come visit me anymore.
And she hasn't. Like,
Good.
and I still get anxiety that I'm going to dream of her again. Like,
Oh, really?
Because I just get so upset. Remember, I was telling you, like, crying. People are like, I cry and it's such a great release. Like, me and you were saying, like, no, bitch. When I have that hard cry, like, I feel like I'm going to die. Like,
No, I told you I need that release. I need to cry to
Yeah.
get it out because I hardly cry. So it's like, ugh, I need it.
Before you tell your story, I want to 60 seconds on this really quick. Today, I didn't really know what we were talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about it, my mom called me and she told me a story about her boyfriend's creating this dojo in his house. I don't know what that means, but dojo.
Like a karate dojo?
I don't think karate, but I think
or
he's
like a place of meditation.
right,
or
like
something.
meditation, like just a special room for himself.
Oh, okay.
And my mom's
Ken's Mojo Dojo.
My mom's been going over there for like a month, maybe more. This has been happening to her, and she's been having nightmares. And something hit the side of her bed where she sleeps over at his house, and she's just like, something don't want me here. You know what I mean? So she never goes into the dojo. She just walks past it, and then she goes in there and sees this picture, and she's like, where'd you get this piece from? And he's like, I've had it for a while. I just hung it up today or whatever.
Oh my gosh, I already know what you're
So
gonna say.
kind of when you hang stuff up, it almost gives it energy. Like it could have been tucked somewhere and nothing. So she hangs it up and my mom's just staring at it. And then she like really examines it and it's a dark shaman. That's what the picture's of.
Oh,
dark
wow.
shaman.
So my mom's like, what is this? Like, did you know it was this? So she does some research on it. And it turns out that dark shaman brings a lot of dark energy to the area. You know what I mean? And it brings sickness and it brings
Well, why would somebody have it up?
Yeah, where'd
they
he
don't
find
know.
it?
They don't know. It gets crazier.
What do you mean they
Not
don't
that
know?
crazy. What do you
Like,
mean?
where'd it come from?
Oh, he bought it. He's an art collector. Like he buys art.
And why did it stand out to him?
He
We don't
just
know the
liked-
answer to
He
these
just liked
questions.
it. Yeah. He might have just
Like, why did he buy it?
Yeah.
What drew him to it?
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we would have to have him on. I don't know, but he's an art collector, so he probably just likes unique pieces. So he put that up, gave it some energy. Now it's bothering my mom, and my mom's like, "Take it down, get it out of the house. Like maybe let's see." You know what I mean? And he takes it down. And a matter of fact, he goes and finds an art dealer, and he's like, "Can you get rid of this for me?" And right now the art dealing situation's kind of light. Like not a lot of people are buying. Turns out it's worth a bunch of money. So he's like, it's in some gallery somewhere being shown.
I want to see what it looks like.
Me too. I kind of want to see it. It's very interesting.
Do you think, and maybe you can speak to this, Juliet, because you're better at this stuff than me. Do you think when there are objects and you give it that power, like because she was afraid of it, because she felt weird about it, like can you give an object like power? Like can you give that energy?
Where it comes from,
or is
too,
it
though.
giving the energy?
It might be.
Like,
It,
just
it
picking up
might
on
be
it.
coming. It might have been passed on from somebody of some sort with like dark energy, and then it just kind of, because we like are constantly touching stuff and like we're holding on to things, and then eventually it like grasps that energy. So something might have happened where
Like attached to it. Mm-hmm. Do you believe in that urban myth that, like, I know a lot of Mexicans believe it, or when you go places you're not supposed to like leave your purse open?
Facts.
Because then like you can like a spirit or energy can like get in your purse and you can take it home with you. Have you ever heard of that?
no,
Do you
I
believe
haven't
in
heard of
stuff
that.
like that?
It does cling to you
I don't believe in purses and stuff. I believe about drinks or like food. So say like
Tell me
because
more.
we're digesting it, we're eating it. So I feel like it's so funny because my dad also believes that. And it's funny because my dad's not really, he probably is spiritual, I don't know. But he always tells me, like, when you're out eating at a place or something like that, that you should always bless your food. Like, always, like, put really good thoughts in it. And it's funny because I kind of knew that already. I just don't say it. I'm just, like, always like, okay. Or even when I drink water, I'm like, this water is, like, cleansing. And it's going to, like, whatever,
nourish
hit
me.
my, like, my body, whatever. But I do believe about that. Drinks or, like, things like that. Or,
I
like,
do believe
food.
that energy, because even like when my mom cooks, if she's in a bad mood, you can taste it in her food versus like when she's in a good mood.
1,000%.
Yeah, you can taste it.
Yeah.
Or you can taste it when somebody's even in a hurry and they're flustered. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I think with like energies attaching to you, just me being like you said, we touch things, we come into contact with people. I never felt like being a hospice nurse, I deal with a lot of death, and I've been in people's homes when they've passed and held their hand, but I've never felt like they've stuck with me. And I don't do anything to protect myself. I think subconsciously I do. Like, I'm just like,
but do you ever come home drained, or like do you get headaches, or like do you get like
that's true. That's true.
Or like
I guess what I'm saying is I don't bring home like energy in the sense that like paranormal energy,
like nothing attached to you mean?
But yes, it is very draining, and it's almost, and I've just come to realize this even when I was getting my reading the other day. Even when we walked in that room, you know, we were amongst like a bunch of intuitives, you know, like Nicole and Figgy and Melissa were there. I almost feel not dizzy, but I get this like lightheadedness to me. Like not lightheaded like I'm gonna pass out, but my brain, I don't know how to explain it. It just feels weird, like in my head. I almost feel like, if I could describe what it looks like, it feels like I'm inside of a bubble.
So you just feel very flowy.
Yeah.
The reason why is because there's just so much like energy around you. So you're just feeling kind of like the vibration of the room.
As soon as she started to do my reading, I felt it. And then when I'm at work and I'm taking calls from people, because the calls I take are very emotional. Like, people are calling me to tell me that their loved one just passed or is about to pass, or they're very upset about something. Stages. Yeah, so I get people in their most vulnerable stages, and in those moments that I'm talking to them, I almost feel that same sensation, and I usually interpret it as stress. Like, I'm like, they're stressing me out right now, and I have to, and I will take a minute. I'm like, I need a minute. Or if certain patients or relatives or family members call back over and over, I'm like, I cannot take this call anymore. Someone else has to. But I do come home drained sometimes. I wouldn't say every weekend. I'm tired, but mentally drained.
But you absorb a lot, actually, because you're constantly dealing with people like one-on-one like that.
Yeah.
You actually are absorbing a lot.
Yeah.
You're just probably not picking up on it.
Yeah, that's true. And when I do notice that I am, I do have to kind of release it. Like, I'm like, this is not my energy, because you taught me that. I'm like, I'm taking my energy back. I'm releasing their energy because it can physically affect you.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't say I've ever brought anything home like attached to me, but more, I get drained from it, and I think it's picking up on it too.
Yeah, that's why I left when I was working at the hospital, is because I would deal with a lot of like teenagers that they wanted to end their life, and that was very like, I was absorbing a lot of it. So I would come home in a mood, and it was in my normal mood. So I already knew I was not cutting cords with like any of these people I was like encountering with. So I was like, okay. I was like, I don't think I'm like cut for this job. Yeah. I was like, I think I have to let it go. But yeah, that I think that's happen.
A good realization.
That does happen.
I think mostly when I worked at the bedside as a hospice nurse, I would come home even more drained, so much so that I'd have to like tell my family, like, I've been talking all day. Because they'd be like, why are you so quiet? I'm like, I've been talking because you're
overstimulated.
Like, I have
overstimulation.
I mean, and even in this job, that's primarily my role is to talk. But I kind of made it my goal, like, to have that balance. Like, when I get off work, I still want to do something fun with my family. I still like to have that plan with them. yes, I need rest. I need to prepare my brain for the next day.
Yeah.
But I still like to have something to look forward to with the kids. Like, you know, I want to come home and watch a nice movie, or, you know, let's go have a nice dinner. And my husband's really good. Like, let's go for a walk after this. You know, we'll go walk after dinner.
Yeah.
Because it is. You don't realize
That's
it.
grounding, actually. You're supposed to do that when you come home.
You're right.
You need the outlet because
You're supposed to do grounding.
like if you give all those people your energy and you give us the leftover,
Yeah, it's
which
not
that's
right.
not right. It's just
Yeah.
like, we didn't ask you to go to work, you know, like,
Yeah.
so.
And while I
That's
have
right.
to be mentally prepared for those families, I do try to give my best, you know, because they are in such vulnerable situations, and I do feel for a lot of them. But yeah, I try not to let it take too much of my energy or let it attach to me, because I don't want to bring something home.
I know.
But I remember when I was younger, I was a teenager, and I was still at that, I don't know, I had an alarm clock, but this particular morning, I was asleep, and obviously, I was asleep, and I heard my dad come into my room, and I heard him say, "Pearl, it's time to wake up." And I got up and I shut my door. I used to sleep with my door shut every night, but I remember hearing his voice saying, "Pearl, it's time to wake up." I got up, I shut my door, turned my light on, and I remember thinking, I am so tired. Why am I so tired? And why didn't my alarm go off? And I look over at my clock and it's like 3:00 in the morning. And I'm like, why did my dad wake me up at 3:00 in the morning? I didn't go look for him to like question him. I just shut my light off and I went back to sleep. And then the next day I was like, hey, why did you wake me up last night? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you came in my room. You told me, Pearl, it's time to get up. It was 3 a.m, Dad. Like, why would you do that? And he's like,
Yeah.
honey, I did not go in your room and wake you up. And it totally freaked me out. I was like, what? But that house in itself was kind of paranormal. Like, we used to, like, we had a fireplace. You know how, like, when you have a fireplace, the old fireplaces used to have the glass doors.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or they would have the curtain that would hang.
Yeah, well, ours had like a glass door, and when it was closed, you could see the reflection of like the kitchen behind us. And so many times,
That sounds creepy.
yeah,
Don't even finish it.
so many times
Like,
we'd
that
be sitting
sounds
on the
creepy.
couch, and you'd see someone walk behind you, and you'd
Yeah.
turn around, and there'd be nobody there.
Yeah.
Or there was this long hallway right next. The most of the energy I felt like was like downstairs in this little hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would constantly in the corner of my eye see someone walk by. And I used to always think like, because I had a lot of siblings. There was 7 of us in the house.
Yeah.
And I would,
It's somebody,
It's
yeah.
somebody. And I turn and like look, and it would never be anybody.
Oh, my
and in that
gosh.
same house, our German Shepherd drowned in the pool. Like randomly, we had been living there for years.
Was it a puppy or like
Nope.
a big dog?
She was a German Shepherd. Older
full
dog,
grown, like old?
full grown, like 4 or 5 years old. And my dad and my brother came downstairs one morning, and she was floating at the bottom of the pool,
Oh my god!
like randomly. Like it was not like she knew how to
creepy.
swim, Found her like at the bottom of the pool. And then in that same house, that dog who drowned on Christmas morning for no reason at all attacked our other dog.
Oh,
Like
before she
almost
drowned.
ripped her whole face off.
Wow.
Yeah, like on Christmas Day, we had to take that dog to the vet because remember Chocolate, my dog Chocolate, rest in peace, Chocolate. But she she attacked her randomly. Like they were living,
And
like,
then she passed.
and
Not the
then
one that
she-
got attacked,
yeah,
but the one
who did
that
the
was
attacking.
attacking.
Yeah, it was really
That is so
strange.
crazy. You know that I don't like reflections, so I don't keep mirrors.
Oh,
I do keep mirrors, but they never face me because they're actually portals.
see, I
So
thought keeping
you're
a mirror
actually-
at your entrance of your home was for that when guests came in, whatever bad energy they were bringing in, it would reflect back onto them and not into your home.
So
That's
you
why I
can-
keep one at my
You can
front.
reflect things back to you. So it depends on your mental state. So even when you have meditation and you're releasing like a lot of energy, you're never supposed to look at a mirror because you're throwing all that back into you.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, but even they're actually portals. That's why, like the Day of the Dead, they put mirrors. So, like when loved ones come, they see themselves and they recognize like who they are. But if you like look up feng shui, you're not supposed to have like mirrors in like certain like ways in your house because it does.
Can I have one? Like,
there are
I have
portals.
mine?
I don't remember. You have to look yours up. I don't know of the doorway. I think it's fine because it's facing like the wall right there, but I'm not sure. But I'm like, I don't have mirrors in the girls' room because when they would have nightmares, they would have nightmares, it would project back into them.
Interesting.
So I don't keep any mirrors in their room because I noticed that they would have nightmares.
Yeah.
So as you're having a nightmare,
you're
trying to just like.
Oh, I'm
But
glad.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, ooh, that's kind of like the reflection. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I was going to say something about feng shui that you brought it up about like the things you're not supposed to have in your home. I also read on feng shui not to keep like your doormats should never say like welcome, come on in, because that's welcoming, like that could be welcoming to like unwanted like guest energy. So all my I was like, oh my gosh, dude, any of my you know what, none of mine like, so like I've never done that. I looked at all because I keep like all my mats and I change them out over the holidays. Like one says home sweet home, one says cozy. You know what, that one might say come in and cozy up. Okay.
He's like,
she wanted it out the other day, and I'm just like, really? We doing this again?
I didn't realize that. I just remembered that. I think it does say come in and cozy up. So that one's not going in.
Come in. And cozy
so that
up.
one's not going out this year.
There's so many like weird things to it. Not weird things to it, but you're not supposed, even in your bedroom, like you're not supposed to face, like your feet's not supposed to face a door.
Yeah,
it's
so
not
feng
supposed
shui,
to.
feng shui says you're supposed to not face a door, and you're not supposed to have mirrors directly face you in bed.
Okay, so none of ours do that.
And then it says put your best mirror, but this is talking like shapes of mirrors, but I'm sure there's like a ton of things on this, but
there is like
this it says put your best mirror in your dining room. And then it says put a mirror facing your worst window, whatever that means.
Oh, okay.
Probably to project.
I know. I try to follow the one about the bed because it says it's like I forget what they call it. It's like coffin position. You're not supposed to. So like, and then isn't there something about the head of the
mirrors
bed?
And square mirrors, they all have like meanings. So
what does a circle mirror mean?
Well, I'd have to keep talking.
And I know you're supposed to have the head of your bed facing the sunrise.
Well, it's supposed to be like north, like east.
Yeah,
northeast or something.
I thought it was something like your head of, like if your head of the bed is facing for the sunrise, you're gonna be you're gonna wake up easier, and your feet should be facing the sunset, which our beds do. And I don't have like our foot of the bed is facing the doorway, but it's not directly in. I know they're not supposed to be directly in line
into the thing, and I think if you have neighbors, your head is not supposed to be facing like their home. So say like your bedroom's here and then your neighbor's over there. You're not supposed to like sleep like that.
Oh, I sleep like that.
It's not supposed to touch like there, but it depends. I think if their bed,
because their rooms are not here. This is their
room.
kitchen and dining room,
something like that. There's so many like different.
The ones that I do follow in my house is. I don't keep the toilet seat up or the door to the bathroom open because that's supposed to be like...
It drains your money.
It drains your money.
Yeah.
I like to keep a mirror at the front of the door just because my mother-in-law told me that. I don't think that was a feng shui thing I read. I think my mother-in-law told me, like, keep a mirror at the entrance of your door. That way when people walk in and if they're bringing any bad energy or bad thoughts with them, it'll reflect right back onto them.
Yeah.
And then the doormat thing I try not to do.
Doormat, yeah.
So it says... I couldn't find a shape thing, but it says... that mirrors are considered to represent a water element. And just like water, it reflects something onto, whatever it's reflecting. And it says it could be a positive thing, and it can rejuvenate energy. And it can also be a counterbalance and push, like she's saying about the negative energy.
Yeah. I think it depends, too. It depends on the person.
Yeah.
It depends what you're carrying. So, like, if you have it, then it just...
I think we're using it right.
Yeah,
like,
I don't
if somebody walks in and they see their reflection, I think we're using it right. I mean, that's right.
Those are my intentions.
Those
are my intentions.
That's another thing. Oh, when we got this house built, we put so much intention on the truss. We came in and we wrote all this stuff everywhere.
Yeah, we wrote all these positive affirmations all over the wood.
It was so
I know.
cool.
That's a new thing. I noticed that a lot of people that have gotten like homes, they've been like writing like things on it. I love that. I love
you're not
the meaning
supposed
behind
to come
that.
in and alter anything because they could like take the house away or whatever.
Yeah.
But we would come in and sneak and
On the
write
wood.
No,
stuff.
they
on the
was
wood, right?
okay with that.
Like on
yeah.
the wood.
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, just
yeah.
on the wood.
And then the other thing we did before they even did anything, we came with holy water and like like said a little prayer. Like we threw holy water all over the dirt, and we just like put good intentions. We said like, please let the people who are building our house,
safe,
working in our house, like protect them, keep them safe, let them come to work every day happy to be here. And it was so funny because we would drive by and we would come and just hang out at the park nearby, and we would hear them blasting music, talking, laughing.
They were Mexican?
They were Mexican.
Of course.
Having a good time. And we just loved it.
Our people are just happy to work.
Yeah, they were like with their radio up on the roof. And I remember we even recorded them. And we're just like, they were just having such a good time. But that was like something we put into our house. Like putting holy water, writing affirmations, and just like setting those intentions. Like, please just like protect.
I know. I
protect
love
the
that.
people who are here. Let them come with good intentions when they come to work.
I wish I would have done that to our house, but our house was already like, well, obviously it's like an older home, so it was already built. We built around it.
Yeah.
But I do have crystals buried on the ground.
Oh, I
so
love
like
that.
in my front door step, like I'll have like selenite, and then I think like clear quartz, and then like my back, I also have it.
Yeah.
Just for protection too, like
So
whoever comes through.
I love that. I'm not good at like crystals and stuff, but you always are my teacher about that kind of stuff. But like going back to whoever woke me up that day.
Oh my gosh.
I think
I
think I was about to have maybe a nightmare. Like going back on it, it didn't scare me. I took it more as like maybe I was about to have a nightmare, or I used to wake up with like anxiety a lot. And so I think whoever, it was my guardian angel just waking me up to protect me, like, so I wouldn't have.
But
that
why
nightmare.
did you think it was your dad?
Because it sounded just like
I
my
was
dad.
gonna
So
say that. I was like, how would you know it was him?
I've heard this story a lot, and when she
This
tells
way?
it to me, I'm always like, why didn't you go check on your dad? Like, why don't you go talk to him? Like, what if you're supposed to wake him up? You know what I mean? From
True.
something.
True.
Yeah.
That's what he always tells me, because I wake up, and I never used to do this until he told me. So I wake up a lot at night at various times of the day, sometimes at the same time every night. But he always used to tell me, like, when you wake up like that, something's waking you up. Like, go check outside, go check the girls. Like, so I usually do that. Like, I always go check on my girls and my mom. I go check on my girls. I look out their window. And then I go check on my mom. I don't really check the house, but I mostly just check on my people, and then I go back to sleep. But that's like something I do because I'm like,
Check on your
something.
tribe.
And even our boss told me, she's like, yeah, when I wake up like that too, I start to ask myself, what do I need to know right now? Why? There's a reason that I'm being awake right now. She's like, and then if I think about it long enough, I meditate, then I kind of come to realization, like,
Yeah, I do
it's
the
this
same
or
too.
that.
I try to pay attention to what is it that's waking me up.
I try not to think too much into it, because then I get scared. I'm like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And I think that our angels, like our spirit guides, come to us in familiar voices or familiar faces, because
Oh,
they
that's a
know
good one,
they
yeah.
know that we'll listen.
Yeah.
Versus if it was a random voice,
Yeah.
that would have freaked me out.
Hey,
like if
bro.
someone
You'd be like,
"Hey,
what?"
Pearl, time to get up.
Hey, bro, it's John the biker.
You're just like, like,
Yeah.
yes, of course.
That
makes,
is so true.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I feel like, though, I've always had that intuitiveness to me, or that, I guess, that openness like, that you were talking about earlier. Because even my mother-in-law, every time we moved to a new place, she always used to like to come to our apartment or our house and like bless it, and all that, put good energy into the house.
Yeah.
But it never failed. Every time she would do that, it would open me up too much, and I would have nightmares. I wouldn't sleep well, and then I always had to like kind of
Settle the house.
it back down.
Oh,
So I
wow.
started asking her to not come anymore. So she didn't do this house. Like, we kind of did our own thing, because I don't know if it was just her energy, that would just open me up. I mean, she said you just open up too much, and you're too susceptible to the energy.
It could be.
But lately, like in my older years, as I've gotten older, I feel like it's become less and less, which I like. I don't like being open, but I do things to protect myself. Like I said, I don't like to watch a lot of scary movies or to set myself to a lot of violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it lowers my vibration, and then I can't shake it, and I don't like that feeling. Does that happen to you?
No, I'm actually pretty I don't really absorb things like that.
You're
That's
so
why
good
I
at
can.
that.
But I mean, I've been like practicing
You're
like
so-
spirituality
she teaches
for
me
a very,
so
very long
much.
time.
You're so good.
So I can like really block myself from things like that. I feel like I'm well protected like on a daily basis, and then I protect my car. I protect like I do. I'm not kidding.
No, it's
I, like,
good.
create
I
a
just I don't know
bubble.
why I thought it was funny. I was like,
I create a bubble like around my car, like
so good.
every single morning, and then obviously I protect
the
myself a
bubble
lot.
thing.
Yeah.
heard
I try to
this.
do that
Yeah.
sometimes, and
Yeah,
Juliet's the
yeah,
one who
yeah,
taught
yeah.
me that, because I would tell her like, oh my gosh, and she's like, you know what, you need to be protecting yourself. I'm like, tell me more. What do you mean? Like, get a gun? Like, what do you mean protect myself?
Yeah, I just try to do that, and then
Open
also
carry.
just I just like try to clear myself like every single night, and then I clear everybody in my house, like even the kids, because they can pick up on stuff too
Yeah.
as they come. And I don't know about, I'm pretty sure your kids are pretty intuitive, but my kids are hell of intuitive, especially my two girls. Mm-hmm. They're really intuitive. I think Zach is still trying to
Figure it out.
but like Zelda, she's like actually seen things before, and she's not scared of it because I've had conversations with them before, so I'm like, there's nothing to be afraid of. But I do protect them because I feel like they can also bring like things from like school or like, I don't know, things like that. But I think I'm pretty fine. I'm pretty good at like
You're so good.
protecting myself. I absorb a lot, that's for sure, and it can bring my mood down, and then I'll get like anxiety. And then there's tons of like energy vampires.
Yeah.
People that you meet and they just suck up your,
shirt.
freaking like my shirt. They
Like your
suck up
energy.
your energy. So
Yeah. I think my girl is good too. My older girl, she's very intuitive, and she'll even say, right here in my third eye, I saw this, I saw that. Or she'll be like, this looks familiar, I've seen this before. And so we just kind of taught her, like you said, not to be afraid of it. And I've showed her how to protect herself, because it gives, like, she will get nervous, like, what does this mean? Why do I feel this way?
Yeah.
So I've taught her like the bubble thing. I'm like, when you go, because she mostly gets scared at night when she's like alone with those thoughts, or maybe that energy is coming through.
Yeah.
And I always tell her like to picture the bubble coming over and the white light. So we do that whole thing too, which is nice. But my niece, one of my little nieces, my sister's daughter, she's same age as Marley, 6. And randomly one day, again, after my grandma passed away, she said to my sister, I seen Grandma Minga. She was with a bunch of boys and one girl. And my sister was like freaked out, because all of my uncles have passed, and one of my aunts had just passed like days before my grandma. And my sister was like, what? Like, tell me more. Like, she was starting to ask her more questions, and then it was gone. My niece was like, came out of it and was like, what? Like, she didn't want to talk about it anymore. Yeah, and my sister's like, I got so like kind of freaked out, but I also wanted to know more. And my niece she wasn't that close to I mean, it was her great grandmother. It was our grandmother. She knew her, but she wasn't that close with her. So for her to say something like that and be so clear with her name, it was pretty interesting. But she has the gift for sure.
Usually kids are more in touch, actually.
She told Pearl to stop crying in her dreams.
Probably.
Oh my gosh. I never want to dream of her again.
Grandma Mingo was like, she can't handle it. Let me go to this little girl over here.
I cannot. I like
is
dreaming
so
of my
true.
dogs. Like, when I really miss them, they'll come to me and I hug them and I love on them.
Aw, they never come to me.
Actually, when I like really miss my dog or like my dogs and I want to dream of them, they never come.
Really?
They always come when I need them, not when I want them. It's
I love
really
that.
weird. So it's like, and I love that, because every time I'm like, oh my God, I miss him so much. I miss him. Or like, I'm like thinking about him. He just never comes.
Aww.
Never comes. He'll just come like at a random time. I'm like, oh,
Do you
really,
know they're
really
dead in
needed
their
it.
dream? Like, do you know that they're dead in the dream? Like,
Do
they're
they
gone?
know?
No, do you know? Like, I dreamt of my dogs the other day and I knew they were dead. Like, when I see them, I was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? Like, you're dead.
No, I don't.
And I started hugging one, and then
Yeah.
it was at the top of our stairs. Like, I came around the corner and my boy was there, and I was like, oh my God, he's back. Like, I knew he was dead and I was hugging him, and then I was like, where's Phoebe? And then my girl came up the stairs. These are my babies. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to see our babies, we love them so much. They're pictured in our podcast room. But yeah, and then my girl came up and I was like, oh my God, I love you so much. And I started telling her, I love you and I miss you so much. And I knew she was dead. Like, I knew she was gone. It wasn't like, it felt so real. And then I woke up. And then I just lay there and I'm like, oh, thank you for
You know
visiting
what?
me.
I don't feel that. It's so... When I dream about them, I feel like I've crossed over, like, to wherever area they're in. So I'm never like, oh my God, they're dead. They passed away.
Oh, so
it
you
just
go to
feels like
them.
I'm in the moment.
You go to them.
Within that time. It doesn't feel like they passed. I actually just had a dream about my brother's dog, and he passed away this year. And it was so weird because I wasn't really, like, I would go and, like, snuggle on him when I would see him, but he wasn't my dog.
Yeah.
So I had a dream about him, and then literally me walking towards him. And then we just felt like we were in that same time.
Yeah.
Like that same, like... I don't know, like I had crossed over to him.
I love that.
And then I told my brother, I was like, oh my God, I had a dream about him. I was like, he looked exactly the same.
Aww.
The last time that I saw him, he's like, oh. I was like...
He's like, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
There's certain people who you
I'm gonna
can't
go to the
tell that
bathroom
stuff
and
to.
be
He's happy.
I've dreamt
looked
of
happy.
family members who have passed that I wasn't particularly close with.
Yeah.
And they've said things and I've like reiterated that message to other family members. Like, I'm like, oh, like I have a step cousin whose grandmother passed. And I dreamt of her and I wasn't that close with her. Yes, I knew her in my life. But I dreamt of her and she was happy and living and thriving where she was.
Yeah.
And I told my cousin, I go, I don't know why I want to tell you that I dreamt of your grandma the other day and she was so happy and she was doing well. And she started bawling, crying. She's like, oh my gosh, I needed to hear that because I've been missing her so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, there you
There
go
you go.
then. Like
Yeah.
things like that have happened to me a few times where people were like, oh my gosh. Like I've talked, especially working in hospice, I'll get family members and they're like, I'm sorry, what was your name again? I'm like, my name is Pearl. I'm one of the nurses. And they're like, oh, and they start crying. That was my mother's name.
That is
I miss her so much. I wish she was here. And I'm like, oh, well, your mom says hi. I always say stuff like that.
You do, because I remember I told you something about my dog, or I said, I saw something, you're like, well, he says hi.
Yeah.
Like,
I do that. Because
Yeah,
I'm like,
you
well,
did tell
it
me.
must be, like, I think things happen for a reason and you see or hear
do.
things and
Everything
you're
happens
brought
for a
in front of
reason.
someone.
Exactly.
So I have another scary story. And I had ChatGPT. I told ChatGPT the scary
spruce it
story.
up.
And then I told ChatGPT to turn it into a story.
So you gave the details.
so you
gave
have
the-
a scary story, like you
It's
made
a real
up?
No.
Oh,
This
it's
is
a
a
real
real thing that
story.
happened to me.
Okay.
And I gave the details to ChatGPT and said, turn it, make
I have
it.
a scary story too, so when you're done,
Okay.
I'll tell you mine. Actually, it didn't happen to me, but it happened to my daughter.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
It was an ordinary night at my mother-in-law's house. The kind of night, see how your mom is like in all of our scary stories.
Ooh, yeah.
The kind of night that promised warmth and comforts. The kind of night when you settle in surrounded by familiar
Can we
faces.
turn off the lights?
In the no, that's scary. In the soft glow of lamps. But as the evening deepened, an unsettling chill crept into the air. As we chatted, laughter filled the room until suddenly, remember, this is a real story, a strange sound echoed from down the hall. A low, deep grunt. It sounded like this. I swear, it sounded just like that. It pierced through our conversation, silencing us instantly. My heart raced as I exchanged worried glances with my husband. Then, my mother-in-law's dog, usually calm and relaxed, bolted toward the sound, barking and growling as if sensing something we could not. The playful atmosphere shifted, replaced by an uneasy tension. We all assumed it was just my mother-in-law's boyfriend returning home late from work, but as moments passed, we realized something was off. My husband rushed to investigate, his footsteps echoing in the silence. I stayed behind, anxiety tightening my chest as I listened intently. Every second felt like an eternity. When he reached the end of the hallway, he called out. Only silence responded. He came back, his face pale. No one is here, he said, the fear in his voice undeniable. We looked at each other, the realization dawning on us. All the doors were locked and secured. The air turned thick with dread. What had we heard? Or who or what had grunted from the shadows? Without a word, we gathered our things, hearts pounding, and left that house faster than I ever thought possible. As we drove away, the darkness enveloped us, but the memory of that voice lingered. A chilling reminder that not all sounds in the dark are what they seem.
It doesn't sound scary at all.
But you know what? That could have almost went erotic. You know what I mean? Like the way you
That does not sound
I didn't
scary
sound scary,
at all.
but yeah.
You sounded erotic.
It sounded like a
I
comic
can't
book
help
almost.
that I have a sexy voice.
It sounds like Scooby-Doo.
So that's a real story.
Yeah,
and it
let
really
me tell you the
happened.
behind.
Okay.
So we were at my mother-in-law's house, and she was sharing with us about, you know, this interaction she had with someone, and it was not a good interaction. You know, this person was
Real person?
a real person she was having an interaction
Okay.
with who was not being very nice to her, and she was describing how during that interaction with this person, she was praying to herself, like, please God, get me through this horrible conversation. Make this person leave me alone. Like she was
it a physical conversation or just like
a little verbal altercation she was having with someone.
So it
but
was
the
an
point of
altercation.
her story, the point that stood out was that she was talking about praying. She was like, I was praying, please God, just protect me, you know? And while she was talking about God and praying, that's when we heard the voice from down the hall go, ugh, like almost like, bitch, shut up. And we like when she was standing up, we were sitting on the couch, and she was like, yeah, I was like, God, please, God. And it was like, ugh. And we were like, and her dog's like runs over, stops in the laundry room where the garage entrance is, and is like growling and barking, and his mom was like, oh, it's probably, you know, so and so, her boyfriend. And we looked and we're like, no one is coming through the door. And so he goes over there and he's like, nobody's here, Mom, like the door's locked, like nobody. And his mom's like, oh hell no. And she rushes over there and she like does her her ritual, like, you know, like, whoever you are, leave this house. Like, she's telling this energy, like, you're not welcome, it's time to go. Like, and me and him were like, that is ours. Like, we got our stuff so quick.
So
and
that
we
in
left.
the story when she says like, me and my husband shared a look, we all looked at each other like, you know, when some people hear it, did you hear that? Like
we all
kinda
looked
like-
we didn't have to ask each other, did we hear it? We all were like, you know, looked over there like, what
But
the
it was
heck?
like daylight.
No, it was the middle of the night.
It was
Oh, it was
no,
the
it wasn't
middle
middle
of
of the night. It was like dusk. It would say like
No,
6,
it
9.
was at night, hun.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I remember it being later, but
Oh wow.
either way,
it was not daytime.
there was no like, hey, did you hear that? Like, no,
Yeah.
we were like distinctly.
we all stopped and were like,
yeah, we were talking,
and we were in denial. We were trying to say it was her boyfriend, but I knew that was not his
logically,
voice.
you're
Like,
just like, maybe it's him.
yeah,
kind
but
of
I was
thing.
like, that did not sound
Right.
like him. And then
It was a frustrated voice. Like,
it
for
was
sure.
like, it was a
Oh, it
very
was not
frustrated
happy.
grunt. I did not like that.
But my mom has energy through her hallway all the time. It's
Yeah,
just
that
like,
hallway,
it's weird, like hallways,
the door
like,
used to slam all the time.
And she
But-
still lives there?
She still lives. We lived with her before this house was built, and I didn't get any. Like, we were so lucky that while we were there, we were very well protected. That
Yeah.
no energy like bothered us. But prior to that, when we would go over, there was always something. Like, we were house sitting one time, and we spent the night, and we could not sleep because there was so much activity. Like, we could hear the door shut, like the house settling. Like,
after like
we
after
literal-
like 15 years, the house is still like gagang. You're just like, no, it's like the trust up in the roof is like gagang, and you're like, what the?
and she lives at the base of South Mountain, so
Yeah.
there's just like energy up there anyways, you know.
Golly.
But we like got all of our stuff and we left that night too. We were supposed to house sit, and we were like, we'll just spend the night. It was hard to come back and forth. No, we got our pillow, got our blanket, and we left. Like I said, the next time we stayed there, we never had any like of that energy come through. But yeah, that was pretty scary. Like, that was the closest I've come. Like, because, you know, like I said, you think you see stuff in the corner of your eye and maybe a reflection, but to actually hear something,
God.
that was the closest I've ever come to
That
like
is so creepy.
paranormal.
I'll tell you about what happened, well, to me and Zelda.
It's not super creepy, is it?
Listen.
Just listen.
So,
In a
probably,
very dark
I want to say, sorry, ChatGPT did not write my story, but probably like 3 years ago, so the girl's bedroom, their window faces the backyard.
Yes.
I'm
So you can see
already
the backyard.
scared.
Me too. Me too.
It faces a backyard. And we have a light back there. And this was like broad daylight. I want to say like it was probably like noon or even 1 o'clock. But you can see the backyard. And then you can see our neighbor's yard because they live like in a 2-story. So you can see their yard. So I was in the room and I think I was like fixing some stuff like on the floor. And then Zelda was playing. I want to say she was like probably like 2 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago. No, maybe 3. And I was like fixing some clothes. And then Zelda's like, oh my gosh, who's that little girl? She's like, that little girl. And then she's like looking out the window and then she runs to the back door. And then she's like trying to open the door. And I was like, wait. I'm like, what little girl? She's like, the little girl that just ran across the backyard. And then she's like opening. She's like, where's she going? And then I was like,
wait, how old is Zelda when this happens?
and she was probably like 5.
Okay, she's little.
5,
Okay.
maybe 6. So that she's like opening the door. And we had our older door, so it has double locks. So it has like the one that you switch and then like the whatever. Like extra locks. So she's just like, and I'm like, hold on. I'm like, what little girl? She's like, she just ran across this way. And then I was like, Zelda, I was like, I don't think it was anybody. She's like, yes, it was. So we open the door, we go back there. And then I'm like, Zelda, there's nobody. She's like, yes, there was a little girl. There's a little girl. She ran this way. And I was like, Zelda, there's nothing. And she's like, yes. She's like, it was a little girl. I was like, okay. I was like, okay, well, whatever. Nothing came of it. I was like, okay, she saw a little girl. She told Ivan. She's like, I saw a little girl. There was a little girl in the backyard. And I was like, all right, well, there's a little girl. The next day, I was doing laundry. And I usually do laundry at nighttime because they say that you don't waste as much water.
Yeah.
Yeah, electricity
Is
Yeah.
cheaper.
So
Yeah.
I always do laundry at nighttime, and my laundry room is actually outdoors. So it's like part of the house, but it's not connected.
Inside
I have
the
to go
house.
outside
Yeah.
into
I've
the
had one like that before.
into the laundry room. So I was by myself doing laundry, and I have a ceiling fan in my laundry room, and it's like it like doesn't creak, but it's like.
Yeah.
So I'm like in there putting the load in, and all of a sudden I hear, I'm not joking, I hear something go, Mommy? And then I was like, oh, I'm in here. And then I was like,
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'm in here. So I'm
Our
like,
timer.
I'm in here. And then they're like, Mom? And then I was like, go out there. Nobody. Nobody. So I go in the house, and then I'm like, the kids are like in the bedroom asleep. I think. No, they're like, because it wasn't like late. It was probably like 8 o'clock or something like that. Zoe's in the living room, I think. I think. And then Zach and Zelda were in the room. And then I was like, did you guys go outside? And then they're like, no. And I was like, oh my God, I swear I just saw a child call my name. And this was literally the next day. Oh my God. The next day. So I go back out there because I'm curious like that. So I go back out there and I'm just like looking around. I was like, maybe the neighbor has a kid. Maybe the neighbor.
What do you need?
Was outside. And then I'm just like, okay, I think somebody crossed over. Like either I've been doing a lot of meditation and I'm starting to hear somebody that crossed over, and then now we're seeing this person, or maybe Zelda was seeing this person. So I was like, I just did my little ritual, and I was like, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do to help you. You gotta go, blah, blah, blah. But that was like a creepy encounter for sure, because then I was just always like, am I gonna see this person? Like, and I remember telling my friend about it too. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I actually heard
someone.
Heard the child.
What'd your friend say?
Nothing. She was like, oh my God, really? But I've always had like weird little things happen like that.
It's not rare.
It's not rare. No, I've had like other little things like.
Okay.
But don't they say?
I
I heard something on TikTok that said, when you hear that, you're not supposed to respond. Like if someone calls out like for you, you're not ever supposed to respond to it and be like,
why though?
Hello, because now you're welcoming it. Like now you're saying, like you're agreeing that they're there and you're welcoming.
But
it.
in this case, she didn't know it was.
Well, of course, yes. But like, remember the other day at work? Weren't you there that day? We swore our boss said my name, Pearl. Were you there that day when we thought we heard her say?
Yeah, it was a while ago, remember? But she was with her friend.
And you and Leah both said, she's calling you.
She's
and I was
calling you.
already getting up because we.
No, you did get up.
I did get up.
And you went over
and you
there.
said, she's calling you. And I went over there and I said, yes. And she looked at me. She goes, what? And I said, did you call me? And she said, no. And both of you said, yes, we heard you. We heard you clearly. And this was like the middle of the day in the office. And we all three heard someone say that. Pearl.
Yeah.
And I got up and they go, oh, she's calling you. And it was she nothing. Wasn't. She's like, she was in the middle of like talking with like a friend. She was like, no, I didn't call you. Because she'll do that. She'll call us from the next room to come in. She was like, no, I didn't call you. And I was like, what the hell? Like,
that is crazy.
Who's looking for me?
In the last episode, we talked about the others. When I hear stuff like that, like the little girl, that's what I think of. They're just like living their life.
And it just gets...
And you're the energy that walk by, and then they're like, that's my mom. And they say mom, and it just somehow gets to your ears.
Yeah.
But it's that style of like...
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
like they're just living like
they haven't missed a beat. Like
they're moving through, and we just happen to have got caught in their little... Right. That's why they say you're not supposed to respond, because then like they're like, oh, like you almost like get their attention.
Come here.
Yeah, they're like, mom, and you're like, yeah.
But I think usually like things like that happen, especially like if I had like a really like what is it called? Like a meditation that I took, like it was like a very like deep like meditation.
You kind of opened yourself up a little bit.
Yeah, I almost feel like I kind of
you were too good at it.
I went too deep.
Yeah, that's like I said. I used to feel like that with my mother-in-law. Like I would get opened up too much, and I was just like, I can't, because then I couldn't sleep at night. I would get mostly restless, like just someone, like sometimes I would feel like someone was like waking me up. And my husband used to say when he was younger, before we had kids, I remember one time, oh no, not him, I did. We were laying in bed together. I was sleeping. I was over at his place. And I told him I could not, this is a good story. I said, oh my God, I could not sleep last night. I said, I felt like there were little girls in your room playing all night. I said, and they were waking me up. They kept waking me up. I just
what house
felt
was
like
this?
It was just some random apartment that he had. It wasn't like his mom.
It wasn't like,
and he's like, well, I do have a lot of feminine energy around me. Anyways, I was like, no, these were like two little girls playing. And look, we have two little girls now.
Oh my God.
So I think it was just their energy present all back then.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a scary, it was just like, you know when you're asleep and you can hear your kids playing, coming in out of the room, and you're asleep but not really asleep because you can like hear them talking and running up and down the halls. Like that, I had one night like that where all I heard, like I was like, I felt like there was little girls in here. Like I told him, I was like, there was little, and he was like, well, that makes sense. I have a lot of feminine energy. I carry that with me. But I think it was our little angel.
Yeah,
baby.
it could have
look
been
into
that.
the future. What?
Yeah,
that is crazy.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
That was a fun episode. If you have your own scary story, please share it with us. DM us, send us an email, atadbitolder@gmail.com. And we will see you next week, where we talk about some of our favorite Halloween traditions and things that we do with the kids to prepare for the upcoming holiday. Have a good week. Bye.